Just like in typical 2025 Bears fashion, another game going down to the last seconds of the game. Welcome on into the Bear Report podcast. I'm Steven Johnson. He is Zack Pearson. And Zack, I tell you what, back and forth, left and right, it looked like they could have just gone and traded blows the entire night in that game. I mean, I lost track of how many times it was actually tied.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably the best game of the year, and unfortunately, a game in which the Bears came out on the losing end.
Yeah, I think what they say in the broadcast, like first time it was first time in a regular season game's been tied at 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35. So yeah, I mean it was a thrilling game, prime time. Loss sucks. It came down to the final play. Didn't work out for the Bears. But honestly, like I'm not a fan of moral victories, but I feel like better about the Bears coming out of that game just because they went on the road to arguably a top 2 to 3 team in the NFC. And they hung with them. And again, at the end, they had a chance to win the game. So I'm not super down about the loss. Now, if the Packers would have won on Saturday, I'd be a little down on it. But I don't know. I'm not super down. Yeah, losing the number one seed or chance at the number one seed kind of sucks. But that's not the end of the world for me. I think this game will definitely help them moving forward in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that there is and it's weird. I heard it a lot this morning. It doesn't feel like a loss. But I'm like, a loss is a loss. Like,
yeah, it's a loss.
You can't go out of that game, sit here and say, man, that felt really good, because there were so many pieces to it that just didn't feel great. And I think more than anything, the defensive side of the ball. I think the defense was left behind in Chicago, or at least it felt that way after that first play with the pick six for TJ Edwards. They did not show up really the rest of the evening. It was a terrible game for this defense, and once again found themselves struggling against honestly, not even a guy that's known for his mobility, just eating them alive on the ground. It was bad.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think both teams left their defenses somewhere outside the stadium. It was fast-paced shootout, and yeah, I mean, you were just kind of waiting after that pick six for one of the defenses to make a big play and end it. And I think the broadcast even talked about like someone's going to make a fumble or a sack or an interception at the end, and no one did it. Even the final play, I mean, yeah, the 49ers had it covered pretty well, but like it wasn't a spectacular play by any means. It was a great play call, just wasn't a spectacular play. And it kind of felt like the Bears hurt themselves more on that play than anything. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's a couple ways to look at it. Like, that's a game that we've never really seen the Bears play and feel comfortable in before. Like, we always watch other teams have shootouts and feel comfortable. And like, to watch your quarterback make the throws, and then every time the 49ers would get a score, Caleb Williams would lead them right back. And they even took the lead late. So it's nice to have one of those guys, and it kind of feels like now the Bears actually have those guys. It feels like, that was the coming out party for Caleb Williams on the national stage. We were kind of waiting for that game. But then, on the other side of it, it's like, man, that defense is going to hold them back in the playoffs, because that defense was really bad. And there was virtually no pressure on the quarterback. They were backpedaling all night. Tremaine Edmonds looked completely lost all night. That might have been his worst game as a Bear. Outside of TJ Edwards' pick six, he wasn't great. The secondary, they're in a lot of zone, and it just felt like every time they were in zone, there was an open guy just sitting in the hole, and Brock Purdy found him. And then they couldn't stop Christian McCaffrey. They let Jake Tungus, beat them. And then Brock Purdy, every time he'd pull the ball back on a RPO or play action or whatever, like the Bears would bite inside. And I mean, the play that he threw the touchdown to the fullback was just that's embarrassing. And then you have to watch Brock Purdy do whatever version of that he does. I don't know.
I don't know. And then having to hear, Chris Collins with oh, he's Patrick Mahomes, Patrick
Oh my God,
Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes. Like, shut up, man.
Yeah. No disrespect to Brock Purdy, but that was awful from Collinsworth. Which Collinsworth had a really terrible night. Like,
I don't think he did any research on either team.
No, and every time Caleb Williams made a good throw, he would always go back to the 2 to 3 that he missed, and it was like he made sure to let you know that Caleb Williams missed 2 to 3 throws. It was just a weird broadcast, but yeah, it was that play was just that was awful. I have no idea how you let that happen because Juszczyk was covered literally by 2 guys, and they both went after the quarterback. So, yeah, there's a couple ways to look at it, but I just think the defense is definitely going to hold them back. I think getting a pass rusher, more pass rush help is going to have to be priority in the offseason because you're not going to find it right now going into the playoffs. And then now it tells you they have an offense full of a lot of good young players.
Yeah, I mean, between Colston Loveland and Luther Burden just having incredible games last night, if it wasn't for them, I mean, this isn't even close, which is telling because looking at the stat sheet overall and what the receivers were able to do specifically, I mean, you got DJ Moore down here, another 1-catch game for DJ Moore, just 7 yards. And yeah, he was battling the illness. The argument has been maybe he wasn't fully healthy, but I mean, he was out there running routes. It's not like it was a situation where he was sitting on the sidelines for possessions at a time. You know, Luther Burden, 8 catches, 138 yards and a touchdown. He's averaging over 3 yards per route run. And if you know that stat, you know that is among the elites in the NFL, like top 5 receiver type stats in the NFL. He has been that good when healthy and on the field. And to see his progression from the beginning of this year and even the training camp and preseason where he wasn't fully healthy, he was dealing with soft tissue injuries. They were bringing him along slowly to where he is now and the trajectory for where he could be. It's just absolutely incredible that the Bears had a caliber of Luther Burden's, player to fall into their laps in the second round. Colston Loveland, 6 catches, 94 yards and a touchdown, and a huge 4th down play on that final drive to keep things extended. It is such a refresh. I mean, heck, even Jade Walker. I mean, he was their 3rd receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
It's nuts that you have all these guys that are rookies, frankly, that are stepping up in the biggest of moments, making sure that the Bears don't fold. Again, this was what, a 38-13 loss in San Francisco last year?
Yeah.
I mean, look at where it was. Yeah, they still didn't stop them, but they were able to hang and play to the final play of the game. I mean, heck, if there's a little bit more, and we'll get into this because I'm a little peeved about it. The time management on that last drive, I tell you, they probably could have won that game. They probably could have, and it sucks to know that is the case. But I think once again on a national stage showed that they can hang with the best of the best. They've done it on numerous occasions this year in front of national audiences. It's not like it's this, suspect, the Bears aren't who they think they are and they're just a bunch of frauds. I don't see how anybody can say that at this point in time. I truly don't.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can. Anyone that's saying that is just, kind of being a hater. Yeah, and they might, if they lose the wild card round, you'll hear that as well. But no, the future is bright. And I think, with DJ Moore, he's sick. He was definitely not feeling well. There's definitely a bug. I think they wanted Lenore on him, and they were not going to target him. Because, I mean, Lenore is probably San Francisco's best defensive back, and they wanted to go away from him. I think Collinsworth even brought it up that they just have not thrown his way. I think until the end, I think he had like a couple targets. But, yeah, they have so many weapons on this offense now, and it's Colston Loveland who, number 10 overall pick is making an impact. It's Kyle Monungai who had a solid game. It's Ozzie Trapillo, who's now part of an offensive line that, for the first time in Caleb Williams' career, they have not allowed a sack in back-to-back games, which is impressive. It's Luther Burden, who is just not only the hands and not only the route running, but after he gets that football, the yak and the moves he puts on defenders. I mean, it is the juke move he had where he broke the guy's ankles twice was incredible. And he did it, I think, against the Giants too. I think it was the Giants he had late in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they got a steal, and then that second round for pick 39? That's a steal. I mean, you look at the wide receivers that went ahead of Luther Burden. Travis Hunter, DB, wide receiver. I think Luther Burden's better right now, obviously, in his career. You have McMillan out of Carolina. I mean, McMillan's been decent. He's been a pretty good wide receiver for the Panthers. Abuka, who had that good start. I mean, he's not bad. I'm not gonna say he's bad.
He's cooled off.
Yeah, he's cooled off. But then like Matthew Golden, nothing from him in Green Bay. Who's the other one? Jaden Higgins. Not a lot from him. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a case Luther Burden's the second best wide receiver in this draft. And I think for sure he's top 3 with, Abuka. You can do whatever. But yeah, I mean, that was a good day for the rookies overall. And I think that's promising because, you get Roma Dunze healthy and it kind of feels like DJ Moore's still going to be part of this offseason plan. It'd be hard to get rid of him in terms of the contract. I don't know, man. I really like where this offense is heading.
Yeah, it's heading in the right direction. And, even just to kind of stack on top of that, Luther Burden is currently sitting 617 yards. That is 7th best among rookies. Colston Loveland, 622 yards. That is 6th best among rookies. So there you have over 1,200 total receiving yards between, two of the top rookies in this class. Arande Gadsden, Harold Fannin Jr., Tyler Warren, Tetaroa McMillan, and Emeka Abuka, the 5 ahead of them. So it's, one of those things where I think the way a bunch of more optimistic Bears fans have looked at this season is, it's house money, because I don't think anybody expected the Bears to win the NFC North this year and be 11-5 at this point, especially coming off of a 5-win season a year ago. It's a lot to know that they're essentially a year ahead of schedule, I think, in terms of the competition aspect. But at the same time, when you have a first-round pick like Caleb Williams, that you also don't want to look at it as, hey, we wasted your first 2 years building everything, and here's your actual 3 that count under a rookie deal. When the whole premise of the rookie deal is to compete while you're in the rookie deal, and thankfully the Bears are getting, like I said, that bonus year out of this based on what we kind of expected and were told but not told by this front office.
Well, I think yesterday showed just, that game showed just how much Caleb Williams has improved from year 1 to year 2. I mean, it's off the charts. I think even from week 2 of this year to now, how much he's improved. And that's what you want to see. When you see these second-year quarterbacks, they have to have growth. And I think he is taken off. He is growing. He's getting better as the season goes on. And he's making that sophomore jump. And you're seeing it with Drake May in New England too. So it's like those 2 guys, Bo Nix having another good year. Like those 3 guys right now, you don't know Jane Daniels because of the health and all that, but like, it's good to see Caleb Williams take that step. And those 2 throws he made, the one to Luther Burden, amazing. But the Aaron Rodgers-esque, like they drew him off sides. They put the hard count in on purpose on that play to draw him off sides. They got it. And how many times did we watch Justin Fields or even Caleb Williams last year or Mitch Trubisky not take advantage of the free play? And Caleb Williams rolled out. Loveland was, got off his route a little bit, came back to the ball, and it was just a dime. Like those are high level throws. And he did a lot of it from the pocket too, which is great. I think we're gonna look back at this game and say, wow, this is where Caleb Williams really took that next step going into his career.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of the detractors have really honed in on that completion percentage, which I have a lot of frustration with because it's something where he's taking care of the ball. Yeah, he's throwing it away. Yeah, he's been making some bad throws, but the bad throws have become less obvious or just they've become rarer. As I'm blanking on words here.
Well, that's your Chris Collinsworth. You point him out every single time and make him.
Yeah, exactly. And even last night, I think the stat was that Caleb had 230 yards and an adjusted completion percentage of 75% while trailing last night, which just shows that when the game is on the line, he knows what he needs to do, and he does it very, very well. And we have seen that numerous times this year. Fun stat. Very fun stat. I like this stat about Caleb Williams. Last night was the 23rd game of his career that he has not turned the ball over at all. That is the most by any rookie quarterback in NFL history, and the second least or second most games of any quarterback in the last 2 years. I mean, just think about that you have somebody that is not turning the ball over, who's putting it on the ground, who's getting out of just wild situations that should be sacks. Yeah. And to your point, the last 2 games, 0 sacks. And when you have a magician like Caleb back there able to escape when, the pressure gets to him after, frankly, an offensive line that had some struggles last night, Ozzie Trapillo looking at you, it's a welcoming relief that the Bears have this type of player playing for them because they haven't in a very long time, if ever.
Yeah, and there's another one too. Bill Zimmerman had this. Caleb Williams on throws of 20 yards or more versus the 49ers last night. 5 for 5, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a perfect passer rating. Which is, down the field. We've been asking for that. Like, looking at Justin Fields' pass charts over the years and how bad those were, and even some of the Caleb Williams ones last year, it's like, wow, this is very, very relieving. And to know that they have a guy now at quarterback that can play from the pocket, play from structure, but also roll out and make plays with his legs and his arm. It's great. And I think, getting this experience of playing these big games, he doesn't shy away from it. Like, this was a playoff atmosphere type game. He's been in 3 now in the past 4 weeks. And I think he's, outside that one half against Green Bay, and I guess both first halves against Green Bay, he's performed pretty damn well. And now you just got to keep it going. So, I just came away so impressed with the offense and Caleb Williams. Defense, on the other hand, I mean, it's hard to find a lot of bright spots. And I think the TJ Edwards pick 6 was a bright spot. And the only other bright spot I could think of was Daniel Hardy as a fullback blocking on DeAndre Swift's touchdown. I mean, that's it, dude. It was poor tackling, poor angles. They're getting beat by Jake Tongas, as we said, and they just let Brock Purdy complete everything short that he wanted, and it was bad.
I don't think they knew Jake Tongas was even on the field last night for the first half at the rate that they were throwing to him. Yeah, that's true. He was a former Bear. You mentioned, Tremaine Edmonds earlier and possibly having his worst game as a Bear. I will put a stamp on that and say, yeah, it was his worst game. And if this is the frustrating thing about him is, yes, he's had some key interceptions this season, but as a whole, he has struggled. And there have been a lot of people who have looked at that contract and said, there's your easy cap casualty. I think last night more or less solidified it for some of the other shortcomings of this team, especially when you have guys. And this, I think, frustrated me more than anything, given you have him sitting there, is 2 weeks ago, the NFC Defensive Player of the Week was DeMarco Jackson.
Yeah.
He logged 0 defensive snaps last night.
Wasn't he out?
Pretty sure.
I thought
No, that was Hippolyte, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hippolyte. I see. I can't remember because the weeks are all. Oh yeah, he did play. Yeah, he did practice. Yeah, he practiced. Let's see. Yeah, you're right. He practiced on Friday full. He had the illness, and he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't ruled out. So yeah, that's yeah. I don't know. It wasn't good, and you could see. I mean, the pass rush just outside of Austin Booker, like there was really no pass rush at all. And
Anywhere.
like Montez Sweat, you got to have more from him. I think we're going to see a game. Even the secondary, man, they were picking on Nashawn Wright a lot in that game. I mean, they were going right at him. And you can also see Jalen Johnson still not up to game speed because they replaced him with Tarek Stevenson in the second half to start to give him reps.
And he's tackling with his shoulder. Like, he's not even trying to wrap up tackles. He
almost took out Nashawn for the game.
He did. Yeah. I mean, he took him out for a second there. And I wonder where the bleeding stops with the defense, because on the flip side of that, and to the point, made earlier about, Brock Purdy having such a good game, not even just through the air, but on the ground, when, he can do that, but that's not necessarily what he is good at. That I don't know what it is about Dennis Allen not being able to stop opposing quarterbacks that have any ounce of run ability in their bones, but it is becoming an alarming trend. And you look at the rest of the playoff picture in the NFC, there's a lot of those types of quarterbacks that they're going to have to deal with at some point if they want to compete for a title this year. And I don't think they have it in them to figure it out. I truly don't.
Yeah, and that's your worry too, because Malik Willis did it when he came in that game for the Packers. We've seen Jackson Dart do it before he got hurt. You're seeing quarterbacks. There's probably more. McCarthy was doing it a little bit. It's an issue. And look, this defense is really damn good at getting takeaways. They are really bad in everything else. Every other statistical category, they are near the bottom, every major one. So, yeah, you could have a good secondary. It's getting exposed a little bit in terms of coverage, but there's going to be a game in the playoffs where you're going to face a really good team, and they're not going to turn the ball over, and Dennis Allen's going to have to get stops on defense. Granted, they got to stop late in that game. I was actually impressed they got to stop on that drive where they tied it, and they went down and kicked a field goal, but they forced the 49ers a punt, which was impressive, but then they couldn't get the stop at the end. And you had the really bad Gervon Dexter penalty, which you can't do that. That would have forced a 3rd and 7. They gave up a 3rd and 7 to Jake Tungus, and they let the long pass play for a touchdown and long screen to Christian McCaffrey. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. You have to take it, if they see the Packers, at least you have 2 games against them to go back on. But, if you see the Rams or you see the Seahawks eventually or the Eagles again, it looks like a different Eagles team. The Eagles don't look, as bad. I mean, the second half was kind of but,
they didn't complete a single pass in the second half.
Oh, did they not? Oh, I didn't even. I was watching. I didn't even realize they didn't. That's crazy. But again, they're a team that when you get to the playoffs, they have that experience.
Yeah.
And if you have to go there, it's going to be tough. But yeah, I'm worried, man, because you've seen now they put up 38 points and lost, and that's a 49ers offense without George Kittle,
right?
Which is crazy. So. And Brandon Ayuk. So it's Dennis Allen's got to figure something out. And for me, I keep going to this offseason. It's going to start with the pass rush. They're not even getting close, and they're not stopping the run at all. So get me some guys that can stop the run and give me some guys that can get to the quarterback.
Well, and just talking, Wendy's comment here, Sweat. He only played on 63% of the snaps last night.
Yeah, they did this last year too. Remember that?
And I do, but all the talk being about, they're ramping him up. They're having him out on the field more. They're doing this. They're doing that. And then you see last night in the biggest game of the year with the number 1 seed still in play, and you find out that he's playing a little bit more than half the snaps.
Yeah.
And it just it makes you scratch your head and say, okay, is something going on that he's a liability out there? There were just a lot of very questionable things that went into the defensive side of the ball last night, even just in terms of the coverage. They loved just sitting back in zone, and the Niners just hammered the crap out of those soft zones on the outside. Like, it was, all right, thanks, here's some more.
I think Anthony Barr posted on Twitter, the former linebacker, and he pretty much said, Dennis, you got to play man, otherwise you're going to get eaten up all game. And guess what happened? They played zone and they got eaten up all game. And it's kind of the same thing with Sweat against Green Bay. He didn't have an impact until that final play against Malik Willis in regulation. And, Gervon Dexter's really struggled. Grady Jarrett has been hit or miss. I think, praise him for his effort, but, chasing down Brock Purdy. But Andrew Billings against the run wasn't very good either. So,
no.
How the Bears fixed their offensive line this past offseason, Ryan Poles going to have to do that with the defensive line. And it looks like with this draft, you hit on almost every offensive player, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Defense, you drafted Ruben Hippolyte, who can't even get on the field in an injury or a sick-ridden locker room. Shamar Turner's done for the year. Yep. Zay Frazier has not played. He's got the year off. So it's troubling. And I think you're going to see defense heavy in this 2025 draft or 2026. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see how you can't, because what truly needs upgrading on the offensive side of the ball right now? Think about it. Honestly, okay. I maybe running back if you want to move on from DeAndre Swift.
I wouldn't.
But I wouldn't either.
I think the spots I would target on the offensive line or on the offense right now would be, I would look for another guard for when Joe Tooney's ready to move on. And I'd probably try to get another swing tackle if possible.
Yeah. I mean, think about that being all you need, though. Like, for where this offense was even a year ago, like, that's wild. It truly is wild to think that there's from a starter standpoint in 2026, there is nothing the Bears really need for walking back into next year. I mean, DeAndre Swift's 26 years old. He's gonna be 27 next year. Yeah, he's getting to that teeter-totter age, but at the same time, he's putting up one of the best seasons of his career. And to think that Kyle Monangai is going to have another year under his belt, that he can continue to improve. He has been arguably one of Ryan Poles' best draft picks ever. I mean, I know that's not saying a lot given his trajectory for the draft since he got into Chicago, but like, that's huge. Like, he hasn't even turned the ball over himself as a rookie running back. You got to go back years at Rutgers to find the last time the guy fumbled. It's crazy to see that, again, the future is bright, like we've said here. But I don't understand what is so difficult about the Bears finding edge help. Really. I mean, this is like the third year now after the Montez Sweat trade that we're like, oh, yay, great, we got Montez Sweat. Now what? Like, one doesn't do it, and it was like, okay, we're done. See you later.
And they signed Dio to a big deal, and that did not work. Even when he was healthy, it didn't work out at all.
Right.
Yeah, they're going to need some help, man. They're going to need some help on that edge, and it's a shame because they can't get it now before the playoffs. So unless some of these guys, Austin Booker is playing better, I'd say. He's getting there. He's making an impact at least. He's made more of an impact than Dio did when he was in there.
But he's also very bad against the run, which we saw on numerous occasions last night. Even just trying to track down Brock Purdy on the outside, that touchdown play to the fullback, same thing there. It's Juszczyk is just sitting there, and just really a dance more than anything with Brock Purdy, and Booker could not figure it out. And I'm pretty sure he had another play that was very similar in that regard. He just needs to tone it down. It's like he over pursues and all hell breaks loose, and the Bears look like they get caught with their pants down. That's really how Austin Booker goes out there. Yeah, he has the motor. There's no doubt about that, but he needs to refine the skills as a whole to figure out what the hell he's doing out there.
Yeah.
You
want to talk about the last drive, right?
Yeah, I do. Midfield, actually in Niners territory, 47-yard line, 1:15 left, all 3 timeouts.
Yeah. Down 4.
And we all know how it ended, where there's the hook and ladder. They tried a little razzle dazzle. Ben Johnson can't help himself. He's got to get that razzle dazzle in there. But to have DeAndre Swift fall in bounds, rushing to the line, spiking the ball with 4 seconds, knowing that they didn't have an additional play because of the timeouts that were used. I don't necessarily have an issue with them calling timeout to figure out the 4th down that went to Colston Loveland. I thought that was kind of smart to kind of think through things, make sure everything was good, even though the clock was stopped. My main concern, and this goes back to the youth, this goes back to where the Bears are and where they need to be, is there were also multiple plays. You look at the hook and ladder with DeAndre, you look at one of the catches with Colston Loveland and Luther Burden just pushing for the extra yards, which, yes, he's very good at. But in those instances, these players need to know, get out of bounds, preserve the clock. And, there were 2 timeouts essentially used because they went up the middle of the field instead of going for, the out of bounds play, just giving up an extra 3-4 yards that they got instead, trading off a very key timeouts that could have done that. And then for Ben Johnson to say, yeah, I didn't get the play in and we didn't get lined up like we should have. It's really painful to hear that, knowing that, we've talked so much about them being good managers of the clock in those situations and seeing it work for them, that they've won games in those last few seconds numerous times this year. I can't help but feel that really cost them that opportunity to get the ball into the end zone more than anything else, that awareness was just not there. And the Niners were more than happy to let them use the middle of the field, knowing that time was of the essence and they were running out of those timeouts.
Yeah. I don't have an issue with Ben Johnson running the clock all the way down, because he did against Green Bay. In Green Bay, he doesn't want the opposing quarterback to touch the ball. It's going to be they win or they lose, and that's just how it is. I agree. I was fine with the hook and ladder. I thought that was fine. I don't know if DeAndre could have beelined it for the pylon, the sideline.
It would have been tough.
It would have been tough. But yeah, having that extra timeout would have helped. And when did they burn the final timeout? Do you remember? Was it?
Now I got
play. Was it the play? 2 plays before the hook and ladder, I believe.
Let's see here. Like it was the Colston Loveland on. The 4th and 5 play to Colston was the 3rd timeout.
Oh, okay. After. So there's 33 seconds there. They called timeout with 26. They very easily could have spiked that because they had an incomplete pass anyway.
Yeah.
So they could have spiked it, got you 24-ish, 23-ish seconds. And then they went short to Loveland with the ladder on the
hook and ladder. Yep.
And then they had to spike it. So if they get the hook and ladder, took what to 12, 14 seconds.
So the hook and ladder was at 21. They spiked the ball at 5.
So they would have had about 10 to 12. So they would have 2 plays with a timeout.
Right.
Yeah, which I think that's probably the biggest. Yeah. After the hook and ladder, you call the timeout. You have 2 plays. But yeah, that final play, man, the 49ers rushed 2. They had a QB spy and they dropped everyone in the end zone, and the Bears couldn't get the play in. Ben said it, Caleb said it. They couldn't get set into their motion because the time was running down the clock. And the pressure came off that left side because there was miscommunication between Tooney and Trapillo, and it just blew the whole play up. But here's what I'm thinking. I know this is hypothetical. This is really
tough.
tough.
I have a feeling you're going to say the same thing I'm thinking, but go ahead.
You can let the clock run for a delay of game.
Yes.
Because the yards don't matter as much as the getting the correct play in.
Right.
Or you could have spiked it.
See, now that's the question that I had. I don't know if you get in trouble for 2 straight spikes when the clock is stopped.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was a potential delay of game, but
here's the thing though. That's the last thing running through your mind.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you're not thinking, oh, this play's not going to work because it's all messed up. You know what I mean? I don't think Caleb knew the protection on the left side was messed up. In a way, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't know Trapillo and Tooney aren't on the same page there. So yeah, I guess you take the delay, but then you're pushed back 5 yards, which,
I mean, you're on the 2-yard line. Like it's 7 yards. You leave yourself with a little bit more open room too. When things get down there in the end zone and you're having to deal with it, it's very tight. And that I feel like that would have helped them more than anything. But
yeah,
I can't help but feel like why they rushed it when the clock wasn't running. Like you're not in danger of that 10-second runoff. Like what are we doing there? That if things aren't set, things aren't set. Like that's just it. Or throw it out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah,
just a quick zip. Like 4 seconds. It's not going to take that long to just zip it, at the field goal post and call it a day, and just reset again. Anything. It just seemed like it was
tough
not.
In the moment.
Yeah, it is, and it's really easy to do the coulda, shoulda, woulda, which we're obviously doing right here. But the other thing that really kind of frustrated me with that play, and there's a lot of armchair quarterbacks today.
God.
Specifically, a lovely video by a certain media group that was pushed out showing DJ Moore just kind of jumping up and down on the complete opposite end of the field with nobody around him. Like that's not a possible throw for where Caleb was.
45-yard throw.
Yeah, it made zero sense that Caleb is getting dogged for that. And they're like, oh, he made that throw before. I'm like, no, he didn't. Like,
no.
Stop fooling yourselves that is possible for where he was on the field and where he was focused. Like, that's not something that any quarterback in the NFL could do with accuracy. And why DJ Moore didn't run back into the play to try and be an option for Caleb in that moment, I think I'm more frustrated with than anything else. That great, you standing there jumping up and down is just as good as you being on the sideline, being a cheerleader for your team. Just move back. No one's near you. At least get into his line of sight. Caleb said, I didn't see him. Yeah, because he's on the other side of the damn field.
He shouldn't have seen him. Like, he's also backpedaling, trying to avoid the pressure, because if he's looking first off, he's not even looking that way. He's looking this way. He's got a guy coming this way and a guy coming this way. So he has to backpedal to make that throw off the back of your foot. That's what, equivalent to a 50, 55 yard off the back of your foot it's not happening. And also, I mean, I guess the Swift one, Ben Johnson, it was not an option. By the time he got through his reads, he was not an option. And I think even if he hits him, even if he's the first read, you have to beat the safety. So it's your running back versus your safety. And Swift very well could have beat the safety, but it's just
50-50 ball.
Yeah. I'm really curious. And Ben Johnson had a interesting answer, because I think it was Kevin Fishbane that asked him about the play and like what the options like technically were on that play, and what they wanted to do. And Kevin asked him, like, what are some of the things and options you could have done to make it a better result? And Ben's like, you stumped me. We really got to line up in the right formation, get the execution of it down to have a chance. So I'm curious what even the real read was on that play, because the 49ers had 7, 8 guys standing in the end zone.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't know. It's a tough play. I wish they would have got a better play call in, but but even to have a chance at the end of that game was, they had a chance.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about how this final week of the season is going to line up, the fact that the Seahawks play the Niners for the number 1 seed in the NFC. If the 49ers lose that game, Seahawks come the number 1 seed, the Bears lose to the Lions on Sunday, there's a good opportunity that the Bears could be facing the Niners back here in Chicago. Next not this weekend, but the following weekend for Wild Card Weekend. And you'd have to imagine that for how that ended, and you saw the frustration from everybody, that having that home crowd is going to amplify things significantly. I'm curious. I would love to know, and I know they'll never say one way or another who they would prefer to play, but I would love to feel as though the Bears want their revenge against the Niners in the playoffs, knowing that they were that close and they can try and, close them out when it matters in the playoffs in front of a home crowd.
Yeah, man, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of discussion about that because you don't really want to play a team 3 times. That's really, really hard on both sides. But again, do you take, not take, but if you're the 3, you probably prefer the Rams or the 49ers to come to Chicago. Maybe Seattle. I don't know.
Seattle doesn't really scare me.
No, on the road, they're a different team. They're a very different team on the road.
Yeah.
At Seattle, I'd be pretty worried.
Right. But the other thing too, and I put this out because Caleb's 270 yards from the 4,000-yard season.
Yeah.
I get that is something that Bears fans have clamored for a very long time. But the importance of the 2 versus the 3, and you thinking about it, that if they get by the first round, whether they are the 2 or the 3, you're talking about the potential of a second home game in that 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Because the Eagles don't look like the same Eagles, but the Eagles still know what it takes to win in January in the postseason. And there's a stark difference between having a second home game against the Eagles or having a second round game against the Eagles back in Philadelphia in a significantly different environment than what you saw on Black Friday back in November.
Yeah, obviously you want that second home playoff game too. Like you really want to be the 2 seed. But if you're the 2 seed, you're going to play the Packers, which, I don't know. It's just, I'm always of the belief you just let the chips fall, and whoever you get, you get. But I think, and Ben Johnson said it today, they're playing to win. So a win or an Eagles loss, they're the 2 seed, a loss and an Eagles win, they're the 3 seed. So they'd get either Green Bay, San Francisco, Seattle, or the Rams.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, the NFC South is going to host a playoff game.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad.
Someone's going to be licking their chops to get that. What would it be? The 5? Is it 5? Yeah, the 5.
Yep.
Man. Like I think teams, people said the Bears aren't real or anything like that, but I think teams are definitely avoiding the Eagles and the Bears on the road, and they want that Panthers or Bucks game.
Yeah, it is a very interesting scenario that's brewing for the NFC. Even though things are pretty settled, it's not as last game of the year up for grabs with I guess it kind of is for the Bucks and the Panthers, and even the AFC. The AFC seems a little bit more hodgepodgey right now for who's going to get what. But yeah, it's an interesting predicament for the NFC West teams and where they want to land, knowing that essentially a 500, maybe sub 500 team is staring them down in the first round. over there in the NFC South. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's, like I said, let the chips fall how they fall, man. That's the only way we can do it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Bear Report podcast. For Zack Pearson, I'm Steven Johnson. We'll be here breaking down Bears-Lions in Week 18, the season finale before the Bears head into Wild Card Weekend as a 2, maybe a 3 seed. We'll find out. It will all happen following Sunday's slate. So have a happy New Year. We'll talk to you later this week. Bears-Lions, take care.
Good, better, bad! Good, better, bad! Never let it rest! Never let it rest! Good gets better! Good gets better! Better gets better! Bears on 3, 1, 2, 3, Bears!